Hi, welcome. I'm Holly from the cooking family, and this is my friend Sarah.
Hi.
She's here with us from the wonderful home. That's full with 2 L's, right?
That's right.
Okay, so we're just gonna kind of chat while we wait on a couple people to get on. I have a little farm update for you. We had a really challenging week. We've kind of been doing some veterinarian school, amateur vetting 101. So
Trial by fire.
that's right, trial by fire. So our cow Cookie got into the chicken feed on Saturday. And I knew it was dangerous, but I thought that the small amount she got was not going to be a big deal. So there's my inexperience speaking there. And by Sunday night, her belly was bloating severely, and we had to take some all-nighter measures to help her get restored back to health. But praise the Lord, we are so thankful that she's doing great now.
Yes,
and
I'm
we
so
learned
glad.
a bunch in the process. And lots of praying.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our little tiny update about the farm, and we want to welcome the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group with Amy. We're so glad y'all are here, and thanks for joining us. We would also love to welcome the IP 101 family and Gail. Thanks so much for sharing and being here. We would love to have you comment or ask any questions in the comments, and we'll be sure and try to get an answer to you, whether it's during this live video or after the video. We'll answer questions that you might have. Furthermore, if you would like this video and share it with anybody who you think would be a benefit, we would love for you to do that. So
Yeah.
that would be awesome. So Sarah and I have known each other for about 15 years, right?
Yes.
We've experienced heartaches, losses, and 10 babies born
Oh my goodness,
between
yes.
us since we met. So,
And lots of laughter.
and lots of laughter.
Yeah.
That's right, lots of fun. And
Yes. Well,
yeah, we have, between us, we have 12 children, right?
Yes.
But we already had 2. So
when we
10.
met.
Yes.
Yes, you announced your pregnancy with number 3 the day we met y'all. And you were the first friend that I ever knew closely and walked through an entire pregnancy. That was a huge milestone for me to kind of learn what it was like to go from pregnancy to a baby,
Wow.
all the steps along the way. So it was,
That's amazing.
yeah, pretty cool.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to release this, and then we're going to really get started. This is our pot that is ready for us to show at the end, and it's pasta. So as soon as that finishes, then we'll have our really get started.
Okay. What are we making?
I'll tell her in just a second. That's so noisy.
Oh, yeah.
It's super loud when it's releasing pressure. So Sarah and her family are here just to visit and have a little time on the farm. Her kids got to milk Cookie this morning and pet the calf. And
We are serious city folk, so my kids were super excited to see the farm and be on the farm and milk the cow. They're loving
they're
it.
feeding the chickens, right?
Yes, feeding the chickens, loving every minute of it.
Do they like the kitties? The
I
cats
don't know.
have been kind of out.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
We're getting a thumbs up. The kids like the kittens.
So we have a huge amount of grasshoppers this year.
Yes.
It's a lot more than last year, I think, but the cats I see them out kind of prowling the pasture for grasshoppers, and then they'll jump up, grab a grasshopper, and gobble it down.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Pretty
Another
cute.
thing that likes the grasshoppers are the spiders. Have your kids thrown any grasshoppers at the spider web
don't
and
think they
watched
have
the
yet.
spider fix its lunch?
Oh my gosh, they totally should. I don't think they have
so
yet.
should. It's really amazing. So the spider grabs that grasshopper, like sinks its teeth in, and rolls it up really like in way faster than I can just explain that.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. We should definitely
Okay.
do that.
Science experiment
Little
this afternoon.
science. That's right. So this is almost released. Okay. So welcome everybody. and thanks for joining us. Today we're going to do a back to school edition of the Cooking Family, and we're joined here by my dear friend Sarah from the Wonderful Family. That's Wonderful Home.
That's okay.
That's full with 2 L's, and she has 5 children.
It's true.
5 boys, actually.
I do have 5 boys.
So we're going to be talking about some back to school meal strategies when you have all your kids at home, whether they're distance learning or they're just home for a little while, or if you're homeschooling.
Right, which we both do and have to feed them all the time. So COVID hasn't shifted that for us, but I know lots of you are just experiencing having your kids home for the first time, and it can be overwhelming to have to feed them all day long. So,
and it literally is all day long. We were talking about 84 snacks a day. And it does feel like you feed your kids 84 times a day.
Sometimes,
we're going to talk about some strategies with how to do that, and we have an easy meal to prepare to show you how to do one-pot pasta. Our family makes this a lot, and so does Sarah's family. So we start with browning some Italian sausage. And this Italian sausage is from Aldi. It's one of my favorite inexpensive places to get it. And the Instant Pot is already hot. Watch out, there is a little piece of parchment paper on there I'm going to peel off.
do you use olive oil or anything in the bottom of your Instant Pot?
Because this is kind of more greasy, but
Okay.
I'm going to try to throw that away. And then we will make sure we deglaze the pot because it will get brown on there, and we don't want any brown sticking to the bottom of our pot. It might give us the burn warning.
Yes.
So I have this little wooden spurtle. What do you guys use? This is great. My kids love it for browning meat.
Well, because I've watched you, I want one that has the flat edge like that. We have a wooden spoon, or because it's stainless, I use a stainless steel spatula sometimes, and that is really effective as well.
Yeah. I guess I like this OXO one because it has a nice thick handle, and it just feels nice and sturdy for breaking that up. So next, so we also have our spices, which are oregano, fennel, and basil. And we have a little tiny bit of sugar here. You don't have to use sugar. That's just if the tomatoes are too tart for you. And we add an onion and a bell pepper and some garlic. Also, you can use garlic powder. And then here's our pasta. My family appreciates the short pastas as opposed to spaghetti because I think it sticks together less.
Yeah.
Tell us about what kind of pastas you use.
I often will use penne, but I am gluten-free, and so and thankfully my family has just kind of gotten on board, and they eat whatever pasta they are served, and so that is 99% of the time it's gluten-free, and so yeah, usually either rotini or penne are our go-to pastas.
And the gluten-free pastas there's such a wide variety now.
They really are.
And they all are pretty great quality. They don't even taste much different
I feel
than
like
regular.
the gluten-free options have come a long way in the last few years.
Yes.
And it's not gummy and gross anymore.
Right. There have been some that we've tried that have been bad, but yeah, they're really great now. Lots of options in the pasta section.
Yes, for sure.
Even like low carb options. Okay, so here's our onion. Sarah's family, so this is our recipe for basically making a homemade sauce. And I switched to doing this instead of buying a jar of sauce because the crushed tomatoes are less expensive. And I was always cutting up and browning an onion anyway. And adding extra spices because the sauce wasn't spicy enough for my family. But Sarah does a little different, so tell us how you do it.
I buy the jars. It's one way that I can keep life simple. And I'm sure we cut budgets in other ways, but for me, just being able to open a jar and throw it in.
And then you're skipping all this stuff.
Right. I have cut up an onion or a bell pepper and thrown it in there, but it's not always. It's not an always rule of thumb. And my family is not looking for extra spice. They want a pretty subtle flavor.
Well, and so especially during a school day meal, that would make this even more simple, even more quick.
Yes.
And just have lunch kind of out of the way, or even dinner.
Yeah.
Kind of
definitely an easy,
quick and done. So you would so when you do it, you tell us, you brown your meat?
Yeah. I mean, just what you're doing, except I don't always add the veggies, but I brown the meat and then I put in the pasta and the sauce and close the lid. And I can wait until, 5:15 and go, oh my gosh, I forgot we haven't gotten dinner started, and it's fine because it's ready, in 30 minutes, and it's not ruined, it's not rushed, it's done. And then I will usually steam broccoli or pan-sear some zucchini or something real quick to throw on the side.
And you mentioned frozen meatballs. Do you put the frozen meatballs in this or something else?
I don't. If I have forgotten to thaw meat, then I will throw some frozen meatballs in the oven and just do the meatless pasta and then throw meatballs on top after.
Okay.
But again, those can cook from frozen, and so that makes it so fast and easy. When I'm really on my A game, I've made those meatballs myself ahead of time, but I do keep store-bought Costco ones in the deep freezer as well for emergencies.
Yeah, and there are definitely emergencies when you just need to have that kind of convenient stuff on hand.
Yes.
So we just put in some oregano and basil and fennel, just herbs.
Measured in your hand. You didn't just
eyeball
it.
Hand. Our website has the actual recipe, which is 1 teaspoon each of basil and oregano, and then a half a teaspoon of the fennel. But I am more of an eyeball measurer.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so now I'm deglazing the pot because you can see we have some browning on the bottom. I just put a little bit of water and we're scraping off the brown so that we don't get the burn notice, the dreaded burn notice. Oh, it smells so good already.
It does.
Smelling very yummy. And I'm going to go ahead and chop up our bell pepper.
Do you want me to open
the
can
you can
of
open
tomatoes?
up that tomato. And I'm going to pop this open. We're going to pull out the core. This little bell pepper is from our garden. So it didn't grow as big as the regular store bell peppers, but I love having fresh garden produce that's pretty. This is the first time for us to ever have a garden, and it's really satisfying.
And it's thriving. I mean, really, for you guys being novices, it is remarkable.
Well, we put cow manure compost on it, and I think that has really allowed it to be very fruitful. Plus, we've our squash, we've put diatomaceous earth on the dirt to keep the squash bugs. There are squash vine borers. So when we had our little garden in town where the kids would, Mommy, can I plant these cantaloupe seeds or spaghetti squash seeds? I'd be like, sure, go put them in the backyard. They would grow up looking great, and then all of a sudden they would just croak. So that's how we found out about the squash vine borers. I shut this off because it was getting too hot. I'm going to turn it back on in just a second.
Okay. Will you turn it back on to saute again? Or are you just going to go straight
to...
Okay.
Everything's going to be cooked under pressure anyway. So here's our garlic. These are garlic cloves. My family loves lots of garlic. Yes. I don't know about yours.
I use a lot of garlic and a lot of onion in most everything.
Also great for your immune system. So
yes.
Powdered garlic is totally fine if you... if that's what you have on hand, or if you just need the convenience of it. But we like to smash the garlic with a meat mallet, and then that breaks open the peel. This one has a couple bad spots that we'll need to cut off. And
I hadn't thought about the meat mallet. That's so smart.
It has been, the kids love it. It's fun, and it's it's not at all
Yes.
scary.
I have with 5 boys, I have a line waiting. Anytime
Oh,
anytime we're going to pound chicken or something, they're, can I do it? Can I have a turn? And so yes, everyone can hit the chicken 3 times.
I love it.
Pass the mallet.
Pass the meat mallet. So you have your boys helping cook in the kitchen.
Yes.
And do they have a day that they cook, or?
We have at different times, we've had different schedules and different jobs assigned to them. And so sometimes you're what we call it the kitchen helper, but that's usually the meal prep helper. And so we've had, we call it the breakfast helper, the lunch helper, the dinner helper.
Okay.
And then because my younger ones are 3 and 4, they're still a little young for helping prep stuff. They're usually assigned some cleanup jobs, but mostly they look cute.
Yes, they do look super cute. I will agree. Okay, I'm going to press start again, and we have this on saute on the Instant Pot. And I'm actually going to just press start and let it be sauteing. This is a great way of getting your contents of your Instant Pot warmed up as you're getting the food prepped.
Does that help it come to pressure faster if they're already hot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it helps them come to pressure faster. So if your water, if you're cutting up things and your water is already going, then once you close it, if it's already boiling and producing steam, it just comes up to pressure quicker.
That makes sense, definitely.
Definitely love using that strategy, and I love that you can saute in the Instant Pot.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, I'm going to put my knife aside, and here goes the can of crushed tomatoes. We've already deglazed the pot. The garlic is in there. It's getting heated up. You don't want to burn your garlic, so you want to start adding your other ingredients pretty soon after you add your garlic, about 1 minute of sauteing that garlic. And then for this recipe, we used 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes plus filling up the same can of crushed tomatoes with water.
Okay.
And there's a ratio for cooking pasta in the Instant Pot. Sarah's going to tell you about that.
Oh, when you're not using the tomatoes or tomato sauce, just making pasta, it's 1 pound of pasta to 1 quart water, which I just find really easy to remember, and then you cook it for half the time that it says on the bag or the box of pasta.
That's right. And this one actually says 11 minutes, which is an odd number. So I'm going to cut that in half, which is 5.5, and then we're going to round down.
Okay.
Because it's going to get cooked plenty.
Did you discover that formula yourself, or did
No,
you? Okay, you found it. But I just think it's so handy to have memorized and easy to use.
Yeah, and it's an easy thing. This is a really easy dish for maybe 10 years old kids and up to make on their own. And they can easily memorize those few little tips, and then they're equipped to make pasta, mac and cheese. My kids they really love pasta.
Yes.
So they like to make a lot of different pasta dishes. They'll do mac and cheese, or mac and cheese, ham and peas. And let's see, they like to do like a carbonara where they'll use chicken broth and bacon and tomatoes and cream, garlic.
Okay.
So try to submerge your pasta under the water, and then you've got your liquid in there. Close the lid. Always remember to check your valve. So we have a checklist. It's available on our website. If you sign up for our free Fearless Newbie Instant Pot mini course, there's a printable on there.
Yes.
And the checklist is right here. No, it's not. Liquid lid valve, program pressure, time, pause, or start.
Yes.
Had a brain blank there for a second. So you always add liquid whenever you're going to pressure cook in the Instant Pot.
Yes.
Check your lid and put it on. Close the lid. Check the valve. Make sure it's on sealing. This is an Evo Instant Pot, so it automatically seals, but the Duo and the Luxe,
the Duo is
you
what
have
I have.
to check it to make sure it's on sealing. So many times I have put it on and walked away, and then later I'll hear steam spurting out or it didn't cook because I forgot to make sure it was on sealing.
Yes.
So that's why I had to make that checklist, memorize it,
Yes.
so that I can make sure I do all the steps. So liquid lid valve program. So we're going to set the program. I'm just going to cancel the sauteing, and we're going to choose the pressure cook program, and we're just going to do custom, and we're going to select custom because it's blinking, and then we're going to change our time. Our time is blinking. We're going to turn the knob down to the 5 minutes that we discussed earlier, and I'm going to press, I'm going to check the pressure. This on high pressure, which is great for pasta, and then we're going to press start. If you have a Duo or a Lux or one that doesn't have the knob on the middle, you're going to press the plus or minus buttons to adjust the time, and then there's a pressure level button that you can change the pressure for. And we like to, if you have a dual pressure unit, and we like to cook hard-boiled eggs and chicken breasts on low pressure. A couple of other little delicate
Does it keep the chicken breast more juicy?
I think it keeps the chicken breasts a little bit more
tender.
juicy, more tender. Doesn't tend to make them dry.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to do low pressure for that. Or cabbage, or kind of, if we were to do broccoli in it, I would probably do 1 minute on low pressure.
Okay.
Or 0. So that's our one pot pasta. Fabulous meal.
Yes.
For the family, and it goes together really quick. So now we want to talk about a couple of menu planning strategies.
Yes.
So how, in your house, how do you guys plan for menus? Tell us about how menu planning goes for you.
I have found over the years that it is best if I will plan 2 weeks at a time, because I feel like I know my calendar pretty well 2 weeks out. If I do I can brainstorm a month, but I don't know in 3 weeks, are we going to be invited to somebody's house? Are we going to end up eating out? That kind of thing. And it's always flexible, of course. But I find that 2 weeks, I can be pretty sure of where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing, and plan around those different things. And so I plan 3 meals a day, and sometimes I plan snacks, not always.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just, I know the things that I have on hand that are available for snacks. So different days, different things. But so I just use an Excel spreadsheet. It's not fancy, but it's very functional. And I have the days of the week, and I have a breakfast column, lunch column, dinner column, and then I have a snack column, and I have notes. So I can remind myself, hey, we're having dinner with Mimi and Papa on Thursday, and Saturday is Cameron's birthday, and I can just make those notes, and they trigger in my mind, oh, that's going to make that whole day feel different, and just help me keep on track with what I've planned. Is it realistic to plan that meal on that day?
So I am not a super planner. I kind of stink at planning, honestly, but I have found, again, over the years of, I used to be, when I had little children, so I have 7 children, and when I had little children and I was a stinky planner, mealtime was really dreadful. 4 o'clock, little toddlers down here, everybody's hungry. Obviously with 7 kids, I was often pregnant during that time, and and
you're exhausted.
You're exhausted, and you all kind of get grouchy. So my life really is better if I will come up with a plan and kind of stick to it the best I can. And I realized we basically just have maybe 10 to 14 meals that we pretty much stick to. So I really want to encourage people to, so I used to try to go online, find fancy recipes, try new things, but it all works better if I just have like a list of our favorite go-tos that everyone likes. They're pretty simple to make, and then just throw in, if you want some variety, throw in 1 or 2 sprinkled in. But when I tried to come up with 14 new recipes for the next 2 weeks, it's like a disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Way
but
harder.
That is an easy way, if in your meal plan or on your menu you schedule in next Thursday new meal. We're going to hunt through, and we're going to find a new recipe with a new sauce and a new but I agree. I think one of the best things I did a couple years ago was just sat down and I made a list of 30 meals, dinner, and they were often a slight variation. So it was probably 14 core meals that then I would just make slight variations to.
Like if you're doing a pasta, then switching to the mac and cheese, ham and peas.
Right, make it a cream sauce instead of marinara, or chicken and baked potatoes and broccoli could then switch and be the next week could be chicken and rice and zucchini and just so but I made 30 meals, but then I could that's just my database, and it's probably been 5 years since I did that, and I still go back to that list all the time and go, we haven't done pulled pork in a couple months. Why haven't we done that? Let's throw that on the menu. Or, I found this, these chicken thighs on sale. I can't think, cilantro lime chicken. Why haven't we done that? It's so delicious. And so it's an easy way for me to not have to use as much brain power when you have frazzled, hungry children at 4 o'clock screaming at your feet.
Right. So I would say I have been able to accept having my own repertoire that our family likes.
Yes.
And stop fighting against.
It's boring.
It's boring, right. The idea that it's boring.
Because it doesn't have to be boring.
No.
You can spice it up however you want.
That's right. And my goodness, we live in such a culture that we have the luxury of having 14 or 30 different meals a month, as opposed to where they just have their staple food and it's rice for breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yes.
I wanted to share one of our meal planning strategies to help keep our inventory, so keep food from going to waste in our house. So when we sit down to do a meal plan,
how often do you do it?
We do this every week.
Okay.
And we try kind of to start maybe Thursday for the coming up week.
Okay.
So we inventory first. We inventory our proteins. So any proteins that we have on hand, and I put like maybe a star beside the ones that are thawed and perishing.
Yes.
Because you kind of need to urgently use those ones that are that are going to go bad before you have a chance. If it's safe and sound in the freezer, then that needs to be lower priority, less urgent. Ditto with the produce. So if we have something in the fridge that's needing to be used up quick, we'll go ahead and put a star by the produce that is also perishing. But list off all the produce that you have on hand. Produce also counts as veggies, so if we have frozen broccoli.
Yes.
And so the kids go through and kind of, like Abigail and I think all the older kids help make a meal plan. So we'll just list off things that we have on hand. Here's for starches, like rice, pasta. I try to keep a pretty well-stocked pantry. So we'll put starch options here, and then other pantry canned goods that we have available to use. And then here we have possible meals. So once we write down these things, we'll look and see what combinations we have. So if we have smoked sausage in the protein list and cabbage in the produce list, and we like to do potatoes with that, but that's as a side. And then we'll have apples and onions are always in the produce. And so we'll be like, okay, with that combination, we can make, sometime this week, we can make cabbage, smoked sausage, and apples. So we'll just write that down here and make a list of all the possible entrees.
Okay.
And then if we're missing one ingredient, like we need apples for that dish, then we'll just write this over here. But we have almost everything else for that, and it's quick and easy to stop at the grocery store for a couple of items.
Yeah.
And then we'll take our list of possible meals, and one of our strategies in our house for managing all the cooking, I should actually tell maybe my little story. Back when my kids were little, so some of you, if you've watched before, you've met Abraham, Rachel, and Abigail, and they were little bitty toddlers. And I loved having them in the kitchen with me, but it's not fun when they're fighting over who's going to get to open that can, pushing each other off the stool. So out of desperation at that time, I had to say, you're going to have to just have a cooking day when it's just Abraham in the kitchen. And then Rachel and Abigail will have their day the next day and the following day.
Okay.
So that's what started out of desperation for me as a young mom, has turned into such great fruit.
Yes, for sure.
So, so then that one child would be in the kitchen with me. We would have one-on-one time, and they would get to help cook, learn the skills, and just have time with me.
Yes.
So fast forward to now, each kid has their own cooking day. And so we would take the possible meals. That's where I was going with that whole thing.
Oh.
Take the list of possible meals and then allow them on their, as we're planning, say, hey, Abraham, these are the possible meals that we have available. Which one strikes your fancy that you might like to do? And then so Abraham can choose that entree for his dinner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then they would
So
just choose from here and divide it out onto the
When you're
calendar
listing
sheet.
your possible meals, are you planning lunches and dinners, or just your main dinner, big meal of the day?
I guess we the possible meals would mainly be the main entrees, because we kind of have a shorter rotation for lunch.
Yes.
So and we have had days. You mentioned days, and I'm sure you'll get to that in just a second, but we'll do sandwiches or a pasta or just something a little bit more simple for lunches.
Right.
So usually the possible meals are a dinner, but occasionally, like
Right.
if it's pasta, we'll throw that in usually for lunch.
Yeah.
So just something easy. And then the groceries needed, and then we'll put that on our phone to make sure we pick that up at the grocery store.
Yes. Well, I definitely try to make extra with dinner. My family doesn't love leftovers, which is not awesome, but it's reality. And so serving it a second night isn't always popular,
Right.
but they will do it much more gladly for lunch.
Uh-huh.
And so if I make enough for everybody to have lunch dinner and then lunch the following day, and then they get something new and fresh and exciting for dinner that night. But this is such a silly thing, but I like to be able to send my husband to work with a hot lunch.
You're such a sweet wife.
I feel like it's my responsibility to not send him with a cold turkey sandwich, which is silly, but because he would not complain about that. But then then I've made enough for him to be able to take a hot meal for lunch and have a hearty meal in the middle of the day.
I agree. Leftovers are just a boon to
Yes.
every mom
Yes.
or every family. Just
Yes.
to have, you've done the work, and now it serves your family twice.
Yes.
Or more. Okay, so this is our meal planning worksheet that we like to do. I touched on the cooking days, and I mentioned how much fruit there has been in that. So our menu planning has been evolving a little bit, because with those cooking days with the older kids, then they have more, they have responsibility for meals that day. Of course, within our budget and within our food that's on hand, and just kind of life constraints. But the older kids take responsibility for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on their cooking day.
Okay.
Now I have 7 children, 7 days a week, so each
And you have teenagers. I don't have teenagers yet.
Teenagers can be such a blessing in the kitchen. They're so capable, plus you're equipping them with so many life skills.
Yes.
So I love them taking responsibility and getting to make choices on their cooking day.
So I see Elijah's name on there. He has a whole day where he does all, and are you in here helping and supporting, or is he on his own?
So the older kids are pretty much on their own. Of course, I'm available to help if they need it, but as the younger ones need more help, obviously. So their day needs to be on a day that is a day that I'm more available,
right,
to make sure that I can help them. So Elijah is 11, and so he's pretty capable in the kitchen, but we often help him, like I'll be his sous chef.
Okay.
I'll chop up the onion, or help him get things out, or help him have ideas, because they don't always have all the ideas.
Right.
So,
and I would say we're kind of reversed. Connor is more capable than he is confident. Connor is my oldest, and he's 11. Oop, I just hit my mic. And so he is probably more capable than he is confident. So he is still my sous chef trying to build that confidence. Not the roles have not reversed yet.
Okay,
but you've been at practice.
Just keep at it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've practiced this several more
Right.
years.
I have a 17-year-old.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So
crazy.
But listen, 17-year-olds are about to be on their own, and
right.
they need to be equipped with these skills. So
yes.
if you've got your kids home for the first time, I would encourage you to rest and not fight against allowing them to take the time, and you take the time as the parents to show them and allow them to be in the kitchen, because you're equipping them with valuable skills that will serve them and their families for their whole life.
Agree, 100%.
They'll serve your grandchildren and you. So, and yes, and you. It's so great to have older kids be able to cook, and then that frees me up to read with the little ones, do school with them, or just do other tasks that I need to do.
Right.
So that's our meal planning.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple boys. We were talking about Connor and Elijah, and they're ready to show you a couple of snacks that they like to do.
So what are some snacks that are just normal things that we have at home on a regular basis?
Carrots, crackers, and apples.
Yeah.
Apples and peanut butter.
Do you want to show that?
Yeah, you want to grab that? So Connor is able to take an apple, you can set it right here, and a knife, and just go to the kitchen and
cut it up and add some peanut butter as well.
And he can do this just for himself, or he can do it, cut up a few apples and put it out for siblings and save me the task. You know, I can change another diaper or help with a math lesson, and he can just accomplish serving a snack without me.
And I love that he's serving his younger brothers, and that's such an awesome example. Did you tell me that you guys have a rule of thumb for what you had to include in?
Yes, we have to have protein, produce, and
just protein.
Just protein and produce in our snacks and meals.
And so then, can you have anything else with it, or?
We can.
What else might you put on a plate like this?
I would put some Ritz crackers and maybe some cheese and carrots.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome, like a full deal lunch.
Sometimes we do. That's one of his favorite lunches, is to make snack lunch and include a whole bunch of stuff.
And we also like veggies and dips.
Yeah, talk
like
real loud.
And things like that. Like if you put carrots with that and veggies.
And we've had quite an abundance of cucumbers this year. So we also like dipping cucumbers in the hummus. But this hummus, do you know who made it?
Miriam.
So how'd she make it?
She got...
Miriam is 9. Talk really loud.
She got chickpeas. And she put lemon juice.
Well, you don't have to tell all the ingredients, but I wanted to share, since we have a lot of Instant Pot users on here. This is homemade hummus from dried chickpeas. They cook super easily in your Instant Pot, and it's cheaper. It's super easy. The Instant Pot does a great job with chickpeas, and then you can control all the ingredients in your hummus. And our 9-year-old made it because it's so easy.
That's awesome. Did she make it in the food processor?
Yeah, she made it in the food processor, and
I've never made hummus.
Oh,
I know.
Easy. It's really easy, but and it's a great snack, and it makes a lot, so you can actually freeze it or just have it in your.
I'm learning so
fridge.
much.
So that's one, and then another thing that is an easy snack or lunch for kids to put together is quesadillas. So did you guys want to spread a little? Could you give me a spoon?
Oh.
We'll move this. I'm just going to turn this burner on. And then, do you guys want to spread a little refried beans on here?
Sure.
So do
And then
you
let Connor
put
do
your
one.
you put your refried beans in your quesadilla? I've seen that, but we don't always do that. Connor, how do you
Connor,
like yours?
do yours how you like it.
mine. I like mine just plain and cheese inside.
And where are your beans? But you
On
eat the
side.
beans.
I eat the beans on the side.
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit messy when kids cook in the kitchen, but I find it to be worthwhile. They can gain independence. It frees you up from doing a task. You can just have that when they're waiting. So, and then we have this just kind of going in a griddle or a skillet
Don't.
over here. And so that's the quesadilla. So that was like, what, 30 seconds to put
Right.
together that lunch and or even snack, but this is kind of a lunch.
What would you add for a
lunch.
produce to have with quesadilla, Connor?
Likely apples or carrots.
Or maybe even grapes.
Yeah.
But yeah, something grab and go that's super easy.
And what would we have sometimes with a quesadilla?
Bell peppers and the hummus that we showed.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, that
that'd
sounds
be
awesome.
A great thing to
Mr.
put
Phil.
with it.
he said bell peppers and hummus in case you couldn't hear him. Okay, awesome guys. Thanks for helping in the kitchen, and we'll set this aside and eat it a little bit later.
Yum. Thanks, guys.
So we just wanted to demonstrate how even 11-year-old boys can cook in the kitchen and do so much.
Spatula so I can flip it.
Spatula so she can flip that quesadilla.
Perfect.
Here
Thank
you go. Let's talk about cleaning up in the kitchen.
I don't like to.
I know, who likes to clean up in the kitchen? But when you have your family home all day, you really have to have the discipline and training to clean
Yes.
up. Otherwise,
Otherwise,
on
you get them all in bed and you come out at 8:30 and you have a disaster, and it's just disheartening when you're ready to just plop on the couch for a little bit. So yes, cleaning as you go is
cleaning
really
as you go.
serving yourself.
Absolutely. So training them to clean as you go. I am constantly trying to tell my kids ways of cleaning as you go. While you're waiting, anytime you're waiting in the kitchen, even if you're waiting on quesadillas to flip, once you've got everything else done, put the rest away. Go wash a cutting board. Just do one little quick thing, and then it makes everything easier at the end. Also, in our house, when I was growing up, we all had our own day. We took turns. 4 of us kids.
Okay.
We took turns, and we had to have the kitchen cleaned up within 30 minutes of the end of the meal.
Oh.
But it was really sad because, first of all, we would always bicker about whose turn it was. And then you're all alone doing the whole kitchen. So for my family, what we've done is each person has a job in the kitchen, and they keep that job for a few months. And for a couple of reasons. One, there's no bickering over whose turn it is. Everyone knows whose job it is once I memorize whose job it is.
Right.
I have to keep a list once we
Yes.
switch. That's challenging. But also it allows me as the mom to know, okay, Elijah needs some training on wiping the counters. He's not doing so good. Because if you go for days with someone slacking on a job, it's obvious who's doing it. But if you're taking turns each time, nobody really knows.
I was going to say, you taught me to not change jobs too quickly, and so we don't change. We change jobs at the semester.
Okay.
So it's fall, spring, and summer.
Okay.
And that's your job.
Perfect. So then
for
you've got
4 months.
4
it's-
months, and then there's
Yeah.
no argument over who's doing what. So, and then we're all in the kitchen together. Yes, it can be kind of cozy and you work around each other, but it's more fun. You can laugh together, listen to music together. It kind of peps things up, and just get it all done together, and then you can all be out of there. Some of the jobs that we have one person who's a pot washer. My skillet is kind of smoky.
Sorry.
One person washes pots. One person puts away all the clean dishes. So that's emptying the dishwasher and putting away the dry dishes. So if things are put away, like if you can't find something, that's the person we go to. Hey,
Yes.
person who puts away things, Where did you put the little strainer? We have some things that always disappear.
Yes.
We have someone who unloads the dishwasher. Lydia's job, the youngest, she's 4. Although Abraham was doing it when he was 2. So those expectations really changed for the babies.
Oh my goodness.
She puts away the silverware. Hannah wipes the table. She's 6. Hannah clears and wipes the table. Of course, we try to have everybody grab some things, kind of as much as they can carry on the way from the table. Then Miriam's right now our pot washer. She's 9.
Okay.
She's doing a pretty good job. Let's see, who else? Elijah's job is the counters. I was mentioning the counters.
Yes.
So that, you know, that's a real example of him needing a little bit more work. Let's see, what does Abigail? Sweeps the floor, and she works on the menu plan. So she's getting experience in the menu plan process, and she also is in charge of organizing the pantry.
Okay.
And
keeping inventory.
Okay. Rachel is right now the person who's putting away all the dishes. And Abraham, what is your job? Loading the dishwasher. So they actually have a pretty easy job right now.
Okay. So question, after you finish a meal and kids take their plate, do they take it to the sink or to the dishwasher?
Age-old question. So I've tried to eliminate the putting stuff in the sink because I felt like it was it creates a log jam.
Yes.
Log jam.
Yes.
Yes. So we scrape the extra food into the compost bucket or the dog bowl or whatever, and then straight into the dishwasher.
Yes.
No rinsing. Now that kind of challenges the dishwasher a little bit, but our dishwashers have been able to handle it.
Yeah.
So we just clean out the filter pretty often.
And I feel like if you run the dishwasher pretty quickly after, if they have time, if oatmeal from breakfast sits in the dishwasher and hardens all day,
not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you run it pretty quickly, it can handle it.
Right. I agree. That's a great question. Because changing that little simple thing and saying, do not stop here. Do not collect $200. Stick it straight into the dishwasher is such a blessing to not have the sink full. And then also unloading that dishwasher as quick as you can, even if it's 2:30 in the afternoon. Getting that dishwasher emptied out again is just so key.
Yes.
We have a large family, so we have 7 kids plus my husband and I. That's 9 people, and we are up to sometimes running the dishwasher 3 times in a day. Usually it's 1 to 2, but every now and then it's 3 times. And we try to avoid paper plates as a habit because it's so. Paper plates are kind of expensive. I don't know.
They are, and I just feel wasteful.
A pretty tight budget. Yeah. Wasteful, filling up the landfill or whatever. So I think those were some of our main strategies. We have a video that you can look back on our Facebook about breakfast. We haven't really talked about breakfast.
Yeah.
But we have one of these videos that we did that has how to make overnight steel cut oats. Love having that for a really quick breakfast. Hard-boiled eggs are excellent in the Instant Pot, as well as the steel cut oats are so great in the Instant Pot. And homemade yogurt. So that's a separate episode, but those are excellent things to use your Instant Pot for breakfast. And those are also really quick, easy breakfasts.
Yes. And and the steel cut oats, I feel like they're packed with fiber and protein, and they're so good. But they are great for when you've got to be out the door in the morning. It's already done. You don't have to get up and scramble eggs. It's breakfast is done and ready. And
everybody can serve themselves immediately, put their stuff on it, and honestly, they could even take, I don't know. Do you let people take oatmeal in the car if they need to?
If I had to, but not on a regular basis.
Not on a regular basis, yeah. Mine would have to be like no milk. You just have to take it.
Gotta be thick.
Gotta be thick and not much mess. So I had to release this. They reminded me. So the recipe calls for you to quick release it immediately, and I was chatting, so I didn't do that.
Okay.
And so it's been naturally releasing for 14 minutes. And then we're gonna serve some up of this one-pot pasta. And I'm gonna show you how it looks. When you open it up, it looks a little liquidy on top, and you just stir it in. And then you're good to go. So, how does the school year look differently for you during COVID?
Well, the school year, I don't know. Well, activities. We have done, easily park meetups, and in San Antonio, we cannot go to playgrounds. So that's really a bummer. But also we've done tennis during the week, and that's not happening, and just a lot of the weekly activities. Our co-op that we go to once a week is meeting, and so we do get to go on campus, but part of the time we'll have to wear masks and not be able to do our large morning assembly, and so just even structuring that, that kind of stuff just looks different. And then I think also just this whole new socially navigating, like, where are you at with your comfort level? Like, when I greet you for the first time in the last 5 months, do we hug, or do you want just like an elbow high five? But there's just a whole new world that we're navigating, even if our schedule isn't as different.
Right, and I would definitely say more people are eating more meals at home.
Absolutely.
Restaurants are definitely not as full as they once were, and so I think it's awesome for families to be eating together at home. I think it's really valuable and great, but it's a way different deal. So here is our one pot pasta, and it's one of our favorite dishes. Sometimes we top it with a little Parmesan. You can even do mozzarella if you want to jazz it up a little bit, but we also eat it just plain a lot of times. It's extremely hot when it comes out of the Instant Pot, so we're just going to wait for it to cool off a little bit. I might even get a little bite and blow on it.
Yeah. So
this is the rotini, the tricolor rotini that's got the little colorful pastas.
Yum.
Kind of like that.
Do you ever mix in a dollop of ricotta?
Ooh.
After
I
you
haven't.
That's one of our favorites.
So
sometimes they even go 3 cheese
Tell
and do
us what
some
you
ricotta.
do.
I just big dollop of ricotta and then some shred. After I open it up, and then some shredded mozzarella and Parmesan. And
that almost makes it like a one pot lasagna. Huh?
Oh, and it's just decadent.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It's so delicious.
Ricotta,
mozzarella and parm.
And Parmesan. Yum.
Yes.
Do you want to get yourself a little taste test?
Well, this one's not the gluten-free, so I'm going to just stick with the
Just
meat,
stick
but that's
with a
okay.
piece of meat.
Yeah.
So back here we have the gluten-free one, and we can even show you what that looks like. Oh, it looks fabulous. You should maybe get another plate.
Oh, I will.
Put some
I
on
will.
I should use a separate
delicious.
spoon.
Well, no, and I am not celiac, and so I am not going to have a major reaction.
Okay, right. A celiac person would not eat that meat off of the pasta plate. Yeah,
let me bring this around
penne
here.
Looks amazing. I'm going to try not to. It feels a little bit more likely to break up. Do you find that to be the case?
I do, and so I think
overstir
I
it.
even go a minute less.
Okay.
Sometimes when I remember.
Right.
I go a smidge less on the time because I do think it tends to break down more easily.
It doesn't have that gluten that holds it all together.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to have another little bite.
But that Italian sausage was delicious.
It just tastes amazing. If I do say so myself.
I know. And lunch is done.
And lunch is done for this whole crew.
That's right. So,
well, thank you so much for watching and being here with us today. We hope that you found some things that will help you to cook with your family while they're home or back to school.
yes.
Hope you'll try some meal planning. Let us know how that goes. And we just want you to remember that your family can cook and enjoy great meals together. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.